Hello, my name is Adam Quiney of Evergrowth Coaching, and in addition to being a coach myself for high-performing professionals, I also train coaches with a group called Accomplishment Coaching, and I have a number of coaches in my practice. And there's something that's happened in my life recently that kind of it had me realize there is something I wanted to provide. I wanted to put together a quick video talking about it. And what happened was I got hired by a client, and 2 weeks later, I got fired by that client. I didn't really get fired. What happens was she got to the point of being like, actually, no. And if anyone's a coach and has been, working to create clients for a while, you're probably pretty familiar with this. The yes, and then that moment where you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. And then the terror you experience. And then right here, right before you start, that actually no, actually I'm a no. So I was working on this with my coach and I've been distinguishing it a lot. And I thought, it would be kind of cool is to create a video just for people so I can share this approach, how I be with this, what I do, and kind of give that as maybe a little instructional or something to that effect. So this, first of all, I want to speak to, no, I don't. I just want to dive in. So I was sitting at Starbucks on a Sunday, maybe a Saturday afternoon, 2 weeks after our initial conversation where she was a yes. And in that initial conversation, I'd said, here's how it's going to go. You've said yes, but all of a sudden, as time goes on, you're going to start to feel like, no, actually, that's a lot of money. And actually, maybe things aren't that bad right now. And actually, maybe I'm better off not working with a coach. And actually, you know what? I got all that stuff to do, so maybe the timing's not right either. So when that happens, let's just note that it's going to happen and have a conversation about it. That's what I said with her. And she said, she laughed. She has a delightful laugh. And she said, don't worry about me, Adam. I appreciate that. I got it. Don't worry. I said, cool. We put a date in the calendar for us to start and sent her the invoice. And on Saturday, 2 weeks later, I'm sitting there pretty much dicking around. I'd gone to Starbucks to do a bit of work I like to be surrounded by people, and I was sitting there, but I was just playing video games. I wasn't really up to much. And I checked my email, and there was an email from her. And I was really excited. I was like, wow, this is cool. I can't wait to see what she's got to say. And wouldn't you know it, there was the email saying, actually, I don't think this is the time. And so the initial feeling I had was like just getting punched right in the stomach. That one of those good punches that knocks the wind out of you and you're kind of bent over and trying to suck air through your teeth because it feels like you can't breathe and like you're going to die. I had that feeling, just abject terror. And I'll tell you, I was immediately present. I was immediately awake. I was alive to my surroundings. I could feel people around me. I could hear every conversation. Shut that video game down instantly. So the first thing I noticed was like, wow, it brought me to the edge of my skin. It brought me back to myself, to presence. And so I had that fear, and underneath it, or perhaps parallel to it or something, was the heartbreak. I'd gone deep with her. I'd seen this possibility for her. I'd made my commitment to her. We'd talked. We'd gotten intimate together, as I do in a coaching call with someone. We've been powerful and really heartfelt and intimate. And this is kind of like the thing I'm scared of the most. I'm worried that I'm going to put my heart out there and it's going to get punched and the heartbreak. And it happened. This is the exact same thing. This is the exact thing that I don't want to have happen to me. And what I learned to do growing up was, with heartbreak, become like lash back out. So sort of like when you're play fighting and someone wrestles, you're wrestling with someone and there's that moment where someone kind of actually gets hurt in the play fight, and then their next play swing, it's got real heat on it. They're trying to hurt you. That reaction, that's kind of where I initially was. I was just like, ooh, I just want to, And I had judgments and opinions flaring up amidst all the fear. and I just wanted to send back a nasty email, which I didn't. And so I was sitting here with this upset, this anger and this fear, and also trying to breathe into it. And I noticed my energy level was way up, super high energy. And I started to send text messages to Bay. I was typing to her, and I said, like, wow, this just happened. Forwarded, I said, I got that email that I was terrified of. And as we were chatting, I shared, wow, I noticed this energy. I want to physically run away from this feeling. I just wanted to go for the world's fastest. I wanted to do 10 kilometers in 3 minutes. I wanted to run away as quick as I could, or get on my bike and just go for a powerful bike ride. So I wanted to run away physically, and I also wanted to run away mentally. I felt this desire in me to, I just wanted to get hammered. And I'm not drinking this year, and so that was an option. And then the next thought I went to was, I just want to get stoned. I want to get stoned out of my gourd. I just wanted to be anywhere but present to what was going on in my body. I'm not getting stoned at all this year either, and so those weren't options, fortunately. But even if they were, I knew this wasn't the path. Running away from this was not the direction for me to go. And so, I was just sitting there distinguishing these things: fear, anger, a reaction, a desire to strike back, all sort of centered around this heartbreak, and then a desire to run away as fast and as mentally possible, just to get out of there. So I was sitting with Bay, chatting, just being with her. Bay's my wife. And as I sat there, I started to sink back into my body. This did not happen instantly. So I sat with it for a while, and I practiced breathing. I'm breathing right now because this is bringing back kind of some of those feelings. Took deep breaths, and I got present to it. I just stayed with it. And then I got up and I walked home. And as I walked home, and over the course of the rest of the day, I kind of sat, and Bay supported me a little bit. And I really, the funny thing was that as I allowed myself to feel that feeling, that I had created a lifetime of contraptions to avoid, that I had all these brilliant mechanisms to get away from: running, biking. I could even put on a podcast as I was walking home, a way to tune out. I could play video games. I could watch TV. I could drink or get stoned. All of these things designed to not have me have to be right here. And as I was walking home, being right where I didn't want to be, the stuff started to fall away. It was interesting. As I sat with the fear and let myself feel that terror, it started to lose its significance. And I got home, and I had a little bit more presence and peace of mind, and I just sent her an email. I responded, and I said, hey, totally get it. And the cool thing is, this is exactly where we're supposed to be. We said 2 weeks ago, I said, this is what's predictable, and here we are. It's amazing. Let's talk. At the time we had scheduled, I'll give you a call. Please confirm. I just wanted to have a conversation with her. I didn't want to convince her that it was different or that it had to be any other way. As I gave myself the space, it allowed me to give her the space. And as time has gone on, and it's been about 3 days since then, something amazing has happened. And that's that my attachment to it going a certain way has fallen aside. And as I allowed myself first to just feel the fear but not have to do anything about it, and as that started to flow away, I started to get the ability, it created space to allow me, let me take a step back. So as I allowed the fear to flow away and chose not to react, that created the space to allow me to see, this isn't about me at all. This has nothing to do with me. It's like, imagine that you've got a 3-year-old child who's scared. And he says, go away. I don't want to be with you, Mommy. That kid's not being malicious. He doesn't know what maliciousness is. He's just scared. We wouldn't blame a 3-year-old or want to lash back out at him for hurting us. Or maybe we would. But I think most of us would kind of relate to this child like, oh, wow, you're just scared. I get it. That's just what you're doing when you're scared. And so as I allowed that space, I could start to see like, wow, how cool is it that this is exactly what we predicted. We're here. And this would have shown up regardless, whether it was coaching or buying a boat and moving across seas or leaving a job to get a new job. It didn't matter. This was just the thing that had driven up her fear. See, I really believe that fear and resistance rise up in direct proportionality to the amount of possibility that's available on the other side. Behind our fears and our deepest fears lie our deepest desires. And the closer we move towards those desires, the more we have to confront that fear. It's a lot like, imagine a tidal wave in the ocean. Most of the time, we kind of live out in the ocean. We're far away from any possibility. And out on the ocean, in the deep water, tidal wave just, it's maybe 6 inches above the surface of the ocean. You wouldn't even really notice it. But when we bring it into shore, where possibility is, it rises up. It becomes this massive thing. And so that's all that had really happened. So as I sat with this, I started to see like, this has nothing to do with me. And the more I make it to do with me, the more I take it on over here, the more of a problem it becomes, because now I have to do something. So instead, I just invited her to that conversation. And the only real thing that there was for me to do was to really get her. To get like, hey, yeah, you took on something big and you got scared. And the cool thing was that as I put down the weapons of my fear and reaction, as I put down the blame and the judgment, and was able to open my heart back up and just love this person, I could see how fucking courageous she'd been. But consider the courage that it requires to go all the way to the end of saying yes to this big commitment, and then to write an email saying no. I'll tell you, it would sure be a lot easier to just disappear. And then consider the courage that it requires to actually respond to that person you made the commitment with and say, are we having a call? Okay. She actually agreed to a call. That requires courage. And as I got present to that, my heartbreak softened and it started to fall away. And then I could just love her because of how cool it was. Like, how cool is it that she was willing to get herself to the point where this much fear surfaced? It'd be way easier to just stay out in that ocean, keep that tidal wave going around in circles around the Pacific Garbage Gyre or something. I don't know. And as I started to get present to this, I realized like, this is what it is to be a coach. This is what it means to be a coach, is to have your clients in this place, to the place where they actually say, I'm a no to that. And coaching is such a hard profession because we have to be willing to go there. It's heartbreaking. I would have loved it if she was just like, yes, here's a check, we're in. But then I'm not doing my job. I'm not bringing her close enough to her deepest desires that her fear is rising up in the face of them. And so from there, all there really is to do is have a conversation with her and coach her like it's any other issue. Because really, it is any other issue. There's nothing magic about the fact that this is a contract around coaching. It's exactly the same as if it was a contract around buying a boat, or a contract around taking a vacation for 3 months, or a contract around having a kid. It really has nothing to do with the coaching. Coaching is just the thing that drove the fear up. So I guess I just want to recap and sort of provide something, because my intention is that not to give you a to-do list, but to have you get the process, how the way of being looks, and the cycle, and what it requires to be a coach. Because let me tell you, if you're not experiencing these kind of things, you're either not getting your clients close enough to what they want, or you're not standing for them. So the steps are like, have someone see their deepest desires and have them make a commitment in service of that. And when they get scared, which they will, be willing to allow that to land with you and to not make it personal. And if it is personal, sit with it, get supported. Sit back and allow that space for whatever that is that's showing up for you to just be in it. Let go of the ways that you distract or numb yourself from feeling that. Don't go to watch TV. Don't go to get hammered with your friends. Don't go and, you know, date a new guy and have sex with them, or I don't know, whatever your version is of numbing yourself, of avoiding being with what's there. Let go of that and just sit with it. And as you do that, you'll start to find a way to love that person again. And it'll probably start with being willing to love yourself, because ultimately feeling those terrible feelings is part of self-love. Feeling those things that you don't want to feel, allowing myself to feel heartbreak, is ironically a way of loving myself, because that's a part of who I am. I'm a man that has a huge heart, and I feel a lot of heartbreak as a result of that. And once you've allowed that and can give yourself the space, then it's your time to go back in and create the conversation. Say, hey, cool, I totally get it. Let's talk. Not because I want to convince you, not because there's something wrong or I want to chastise you, but because I love what you shared. I love who you are, and I want to support that person to be amazing. And if that just means one conversation, then so be it. And if that means looking at what's getting in your way, so be it. But whatever it is, that's what I'm here for you. Cool. Thanks.